Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
And we welcome to the show John, who was a survivor of the Toronto plane crash, the Delta Airlines flight. Incredible, insane that 60 people, they all lived from a plane crash. And the interesting thing is he's only done 2 interviews, Fox News and Good Morning America. And he grew up in Kenosha. Even though he's in Minneapolis now, that flight took off from Minneapolis to Toronto. And he was a big Q101 listener growing up, so he's talking to us today, and we're very excited about it. So, John, welcome to the show, and I can't imagine starting off with any other question except, what was it like to survive a plane crash?
I don't know if I could find words to describe that, right? Like, the commercial airline crashes with survivors are a select few in the world, right? And so I'm just grateful to even be here. How does it feel? It's just I'm just glad to be here. I don't know how. I mean, I know that sounds so cheap, but I truly feel that way. Yeah.
That's just the true reaction. My question to you is, when you were on that plane, did you have the moment to even process what was happening, or was it so insane that you almost didn't even realize what was going on?
The flight from Minneapolis to Toronto, I had actually sat along the window because I had not been to Toronto before, right? And I didn't have my AirPods that day. For whatever reason, I left them at home. And so as we were coming in, I was just hyper aware. It was a new place. I wanted to see, like, the CN Tower, I think is, the tall building. Mm-hmm. And so I was watching as it came in. And, as we were coming in, I noticed that there was a lot of snow blowing across the runways. I noticed we were coming in fast, but, I'm not a pilot, so I'm not qualified to say if it was too fast. And so I was, like, in the moment, and then the crash happened. It felt like being in the Matrix movie at that point, right? Like, we hit, and it was just this loud, like, crunching. If you've ever been, like, in a car-on-car accident, you feel the impact, and then, like, it just started to roll to the right, and everything from there is just, it's fast and slow at the same time.
I have a question. I've always wanted to find this out, and sadly, most of the time you can't do this in a plane crash. Did the people that were assigned the exit row bail on everybody and not help, since they're always asked beforehand to help and they say they will? Did they help anybody, the exit row people?
The answer to that is I don't know. That's an interesting question, because if you notice the photos, people are coming out of the front and the back, but not over the wing. And I was right there. I was in the middle. So I actually was some of the last people off the plane because everybody had to go front or back. I can tell you passengers for certain, I talked to them, that helped get the front and the back door open. But wherever those passengers were, they did help open the doors. What happened, like, in the middle of the aisle or, in the middle of the plane, I'm not sure.
Hey, I'm not judging, because I'd be the hell out of there.
No, Brian's specifically asking because he always says yes and he wants to make sure he doesn't actually have to. That's why that question occurred.
And I'm so jealous of exit row because more leg room.
Of course.
Of course.
Right.
But, it's a big responsibility.
Like, of course I'll hope in a plane crash, but I probably won't,
Once people were getting off the plane, did you feel safe? Were you like, okay, everything's fine, we get off this plane? Or did you not feel okay until you were off of it?
Yeah, I did not feel safe till we were off of it, right? So the initial impact, like I mentioned, right, we start to roll to the right. So we roll all the way, like, basically over, and then if you notice, the plane kind of, like, actually does, like, a 180 on top of it. So, like, we're facing the plane when it finally comes to a stop. We're upside down, backwards, essentially, right? Everybody's trying to figure out what just happened. They're trying to get the doors open. We're trying to get people freed from their seatbelt, because I'm upside down. I let the seatbelt go. I fall basically straight down onto the overhead compartment and land, like, on my back. So I have, like, a lot of, like, bruising and stuff on my back. And then you're trying to help everybody else out. And then, everybody was remarkably calm and collected. I don't know if it was the Minnesotan and Canadian in us that like this. Hey, you go first. No, you go first. I don't know if there was a little bit of Midwest nice going on. I'm not sure, but
lots of you betches on the plane.
Yeah, there's a lot of you betches and A's. Like after you, A. No, after you.
I mean, the plane's on fire. We should get off the plane. Someone just go
we
first.
Should get off the plane. There was a lot of smell of jet fuel. Oof. Right there. I talk about it. My clothes actually are in my garage. They're getting thrown away. We did get jet fuel on us, and that smell was getting to be very strong. And if you've ever started like a grill or your stove and you get that smelling of like hot smell, that was going on. And at that moment, people were like, okay, we now need to get off this plane. Right? And that was the point, which was like, Minnesota nights be damned. Oops, I'm sorry. Like, let's get off the plane and get out of there as fast as possible. And then, so that I didn't feel safe until we were off the plane. And then even then I go to take a photo and then inevitably end up taking the video that everybody now has seen. And shortly after I take that, there actually was like another explosion. The plane caught fire on the far side of the plane. And luckily those firefighters, there was a firefighter who came jumping out of the airplane when that happened. They were dousing it down with more, whatever that is, fire retardant. And so, yeah, we weren't safe until minutes after.
Oh, my God.
I know, it's insane. Well, let's talk about the $30,000. Are the news reports right where they say every passenger was offered $30,000, no strings attached after this happened? So did you get offered that, if you don't mind saying?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think the entire world knows that. Yes, that is the case. Yes, the lawyers have told me that is a no strings attached kind of offer there as well. Everybody knows it, including my kids' friends at school. So,
that sucks. They're all like, hey,
they're like, pizza party?
Yeah.
I want a new PS5. Can I borrow $1,000?
Yeah, I had to pick up pizza for all of my friends on Saturday night. Let's just put it that way.
We were discussing, like, was this super, super nice of Delta, or is it like, well, I almost lost my life, though. Does that cover it? Like, do you feel like this was great? Do you feel like it's enough? Are you still processing if it is or not? Like, how do you feel about that?
To be honest, I don't know how to feel about that, right? I will say I almost died on a Delta flight, but I'll never fly on another airline. And I say that because things shouldn't go wrong. That should not have happened, period. I was in a plane crash. But having said that, their response team, they checked in with me again today, and they were like, what else do you need? What's going on? What can we do to help you? I mean, I'm not giving them a pass, right? Because they still crashed the plane. However, their team and their employees, I think, truly care.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's great to hear.
That's awesome.
They care. That's why I'll leave it at that.
That's awesome. Now that you're alive and everything's good, you're safe, and you've laid all this stuff out. Are you going to go for more money?
I mean, there are lawyers involved at this point.
Oh, boy. What that says right there is I can't ask any more questions right there.
And Brian's been cut off. Which most interviews end with Brian getting cut off.
And people saying there's lawyers involved.
I even love your response to that as well. Yeah, you're right. Like, I'm not gonna
Well, John, we know you got your windows here closing, so we really appreciate it. We're so happy for you and this unique life experience that you have that, 0.00001% of people on Earth have, and we're really happy you're doing okay, and that you sound like a really good guy, too.
Thank you. I'm glad to still be here.
Now, can I borrow $5,000?
That's awesome. No, you can't.
Oh, damn it. Not a nice guy.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Yesterday all day, Tiffany Henyard, the incumbent adult mayor, lost Tuesday's Democratic primary to trustee Jason House. This is actually mind-blowing for us. We've followed this story for nearly 2 years, and obviously WGN's Ben Bradley, we're going to have him on the air here in just about 10 minutes at 8:15. he's the one that inspired us to get into this story, and no one's covered it, obviously except for him, like we did, and playing audio, and it's, in a way, it's sad because a comedy content factory is gone, and I don't know what we're going to do.
Well, I would say at least the people of Dalton's lives are hopefully going to be better because of this.
That's the
It's
thing.
tough. It's like, what matters more, though?
The show or people's lives. I would vote the show.
I will say, I think that she's going to make a ruckus at some point in time. And I also think we could, follow the fact that I think this lawsuit with the FBI is really going to take off. I think we're going to have some more information.
Well, that's what I want to ask Ben about, the FBI investigation that's ongoing. But, obviously, and it's funny because Helen from Waukegan checked in and said, I don't know what's going on with this. I heard you guys talking about it yesterday, but I'm new to the show. Well, thank you. Welcome to the party, Helen from Waukegan, and all your friends and family in Waukegan. We appreciate you. Spread the word. But let's go back and play some of the audio that got this whole thing started. This was the Ben Bradley interview with Tiffany Henyard over a year and a half ago, where there was controversy about she went to Vegas. Did she use funds from the city there? And this was the audio that got us just dying.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
You didn't go to Las Vegas? What is that? You don't know if you were in Las Vegas?
Of course I do.
Were you?
It's not paid by them.
Did you fly first class to Las Vegas?
And she didn't really continue there, but what is that?
What? And I would like to say that when we talked to Ben Bradley the first time, so probably a year or two ago, right, about this, he said the craziest part of this interview, which people don't realize, is she had to approve the questions ahead of time. So it wasn't like she was taken back, like, oh, she read the question like a week before Ben showed up.
So there was another point of a lot of the interviews and the chaos going down in the board meetings, and a trustee was interviewed. This is another favorite piece of audio of Brian and Kenzie and our listeners when they interview one of the trustees trying to get some information out of him.
Trustee Jerry Jones was on that first-class trip to New York.
Still don't have a comment.
Sir, you're a trustee.
But once again, I don't have a comment.
I mean, what are you going to do?
Hey, got me there.
Kept his mouth shut. And the funny thing is Jason House now, who was elected in the primary to then go compete in April to be the mayor of Dalton, he was an ally of Tiffany Henyard. It's wild down there. It is out of control.
It really is.
And just a couple days ago, Tiffany Henyard herself dropped a song it's called Feed the People, to maybe get more people on her side.
And like, this is real. It just doesn't make it. I feel like I'm on SNL. Like, this happened.
Well, she got 12% of the vote yesterday, so she still got some people with this song. Not enough to, of course, be mayor again. But here was the song she dropped, Feed the People.
I'm starving the board. I'm feeding the people. They put me in office and treat me like it's illegal. To feed the people. To feed the people. I gave back to communities and I cleaned the streets up. I'm starving the board. I'm feeding the people. They put me in office and treat me like it's illegal. To feed the people.
Catchy.
To feed the people. To
Feed my people.
To feed my people. From Vegas to Chicago.
Oh, boy, that last part didn't age well.
I don't understand why it was included because the story just trails off. If Tiffany Henyard ever fed you, could you please call up? Because I want to. She is apparently feeding an incredible amount of people, and I want to hear from one of them.
Well, Helen checked in again from Waukegan, texting in saying, I'm dying, laughing emoji, laughing emoji. But you, the people, wanted this. Listen, it's turned into a lot of montages with using Disturbed's Down with the Sickness. It started with our Super Bowl halftime with Kendrick Lamar, a mix I made after the Super Bowl, and it led to a Hooters commercial mixing it in. So you asked for this. I'm giving it to you. This is the Tiffany Henyard Feed the People song mashed up with Down with the Sickness, just for you.
I'm starving the board. I'm feeding the people. They put me in office and treat me like it's illegal. To feed the people. To feed the people.
Well, there you go. You
It actually sounds like he says, what? At one point, like responding like a callback.
Okay, WGN's Ben Bradley on the phone with us when we come back here in just about 7 minutes to talk more, ask all the questions, especially about the ongoing FBI investigation about Tiffany Henyard not being the mayor of Dalton anymore.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
Q101.
Well, it's been a minute since we had him back on the show, so we're really excited to bring back WGN's Ben Bradley, the Emmy Award-winning investigative reporter who has spent 25 years covering hard news in Chicago. And the story of Tiffany Henyard, and now, of course, losing in the primary election yesterday, will not be reelected or have the opportunity to be reelected as mayor of Dalton. And again, this is the piece of audio that made Ben Bradley and us friends.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
You didn't go to Las Vegas? What is that?
No.
And Ben, welcome to the show. We appreciate you and want to thank you for all your service to Chicago and especially the city of Dalton for staying on this story for 2 years, having doors slammed in your face. And does this feel like vindication for you and also for the people? Thank you. Welcome in.
Oh, good to be with you guys again. You know, it's not about me. I feel like we were able to use the attention and the resources of WGN to shine a light on a community that needed it. You know, we were not the first ones who were raising concerns about Mayor Tiffany Henyard's spending and leadership and allegations that she was, targeting her opponents. The trustees who 4 years ago ran with soured on her, and they were raising these issues in meetings, and some of the local publications down in the south suburbs, were doing their best to cover it. But it wasn't until we got involved, and at one point, thanks to our parent company, Nexstar, they agreed to file a lawsuit against the village of Dalton to force them to follow Illinois transparency laws and turn over spending records. So that's just a role that we are able to do in the media ecosystem, which is to say we've got the time and the resources and the spotlight to shine a light on what's going on in a community that wherever corruption is happening, those who are doing it generally count on the fact that no one's watching. And by that, I mean the residents.
Right. Absolutely. Because I get that. We're all residents of somewhere, and I feel like I'm not paying attention to local spending. You have a lot going on. You're managing, your family, your own job, things like that.
Yeah.
So what you did was so important, and we're really grateful for it because you obviously had lots of doors slammed in your face. And
Ben's
Ben's
being very humble. He had doors slammed in his face and went into hostile environments to not only had the resources of WGN TV, but you did it. You were at the tip of the sword in getting this information out there. And now look at it. Now Tiffany Henyard cannot be mayor of Dalton. And I don't know much about Jason House, one of her allies, of course, back in the day. But at least there's a choice that shouldn't lead to heavy corruption in Dalton, I hope.
Yeah, we hope.
Yeah, and Jason House, to his credit, was one of the trustees who was speaking out against Tiffany Henyard and brought in Lori Lightfoot to do the outside investigation. So I think residents there are hopeful. Heck, they gave him 88% of their vote, which, as you know, in today's climate, you don't see too many landslides.
Absolutely. And speaking of the investigation, I know that it is ongoing. Do you have any updates? Is there anything that we should know about that investigation against her?
If anyone has insight into how the FBI operates, I would love to know, because they serve subpoenas in both of the governments that Tiffany Henyard runs, so Dalton and Thornton Township, which, you may have never heard of it, but it's the largest township in the state of Illinois, and it covers, nearly a dozen south suburbs. And the FBI served those subpoenas more than 7 months ago. I know for a fact that, people who we have profiled who have said that they've been victims of corruption or retaliation under Tiffany Henyard's watch have told us that after the story aired on WGN, the next day they got a call or a visit from the FBI.
Wow.
So I know that the FBI is actively investigating this. What I can't tell you is why it takes so long. And that has been $1 million question. Look at Mike Madigan, right? He was just found guilty earlier this month. The Tribune and other reporters have been reporting on the House Speaker's shady deals for 25 years.
Jeez.
Unreal. What do you think they're going to do with that ice rink down there that Tiffany Henyard built?
Well, it doesn't get a lot. It didn't get a lot of use under Tiffany Henyard. Residents told us it was only open when she would host events there.
Yeah.
So I hope, as I said, I went to Tiffany Henyard's quote unquote election party last night. A, I was shocked they let me in. B, it was probably because there were only 10 people there and Henyard herself didn't show up.
Wow.
But as I said to somebody as I was leaving last night, a longtime Henyard supporter, I said, I hope you don't see my face down in Dalton for a long time. And they laughed and said, me too. Hey, and I do have to say, to Tiffany Henyard's credit, the mayor got on the phone with me last night. So after she didn't show up at her party, she got on the phone with me and we talked for a bit. She said, don't count her out. But she said she got the message from voters.
Well, with Brandon Johnson's approval rating at an all-time low for Chicago, is she up for a run for Chicago mayor
God,
coming
Brian.
up in a few years?
Don't count her out.
Oh, man.
She said don't count her out.
She is. So the township, the local Democrats refused to slate her to continue in her other six-figure job as Thornton Township supervisor. That election's April 1st, so she's not slated as a candidate, but she did file to run as a write-in. But, presumably after what we saw in Dalton last night, that's not going to work. So after the April 1st township election, Tiffany Henyard, at least for now, won't be making any money off the taxpayers.
Well, thank you again, and we can't wait to have you on again about these stories coming up. And Ben Bradley, WGN TV's investigative reporter, the best in the business. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Always great to be with you guys.
All right, take care.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Once again, thanks to WGN TV's Ben Bradley, our guy, the investigative reporter, the best in the business. For 25 years at WGN TV, with the Tiffany Henyard story, he's been on the show several times. And following that story with us for 2 years. Now, a lot of people, again, new time texters coming in. Lauren from St. John, welcome to the party. And says, my husband has never heard the, quote, you gone, bitch audio from Dalton Town Hall.
It sounded really natural coming from your mouth.
This is important. We have to get to this.
She said, please play that. And this is the audio. This actually comes from a TV report where the fight broke out after the you gone, bitch was said.
As Jedediah Brown finished his public comments directed to Supervisor Tiffany Henyard, he ended with this.
You gone.
Before Brown could get back to his seat, Henyard's allies, including her boyfriend, Kamal Woods, confronted Brown, and punches went flying. Several men joined the tussle where people threw punches and started kicking. Security guard tried separating the men. Witnesses say Henyard, who was in the front of the room with the Board of Trustees, ran towards that tussle. Her intentions unclear, but she did lose a shoe and was thrown to the ground.
I found her intentions to be very clear, but that's just me personally.
And losing a shoe is about right in that situation, in that tussle, if you will.
Absolutely.
This is what I'm going to miss. See, I'm happy that corruption will be gone for those poor people in Dalton that struggle with all the problems where the money's going. But I'm going to miss, things like this. I'm just going to miss this, You
gone.
A comedy content factory Tiffany Henyard has been. So follow the story again. WGN TV and Ben Bradley will have more on that all day long on tonight's report. It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
Q101.
You can't defeat her. She's too powerful.
Klash with Kenzie.
Let the battle begin.
Q101.
Huge ticket. Dave Matthews Band. Those shows coming up at Northerly Island. 2 shows, June 27th and 28th. This will be for the 28th night. So Saturday night you get from Live Nation and Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Remember, if John Wakanda does not win, we still give him away. We'll play a song, and then we'll come back at God Bless the Baby. So everybody still has a chance for these awesome tickets, as he was in Alpine Valley last year, so didn't get a Chicago Dave Matthews Band show last year.
And those shows were interrupted by tornado warnings.
That's right. That one and Noah Khan.
Correct. I was in the area for Noah Khan. It was terrifying.
God, there was a lot of tornadoes last year.
I'm sure it's fine. Climate's good.
It just was a little windy.
Yeah, nothing to worry about. That's fine.
The whole point of the best part of that is that Case took up 9 hours of his day in a commute just to drink a lemonade and turn around and come back from Alpine Valley.
A lot of gas money for a lemonade.
All right, John. Tell us something about yourself, John.
20 years ago this year, we got married, and our first dance was Crash.
Oh,
Woo, that's awesome.
That's a great song to do it to. 20 years. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Way to go.
And any kids?
I do. I got 2 kids, and Hunter's in here waiting to go to school, but he wouldn't go in the building until we were done.
That's
right.
That's a good kid right there.
That's right.
That's
At school. He's like, I don't need this.
I don't need these SAT scores.
I said it's going to be tough, though. Kenzie's super smart.
She is.
Yeah, it depends on the genre of questioning.
A lot of war questions coming up.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
No.
First one to 5 wins. Listen carefully. If Kenzie gets one wrong, you can steal a point. She can do the same with you. Call heads or tails, John?
Tails.
That's heads. The first loss for a competitor this week. So Kenzie goes first.
Oh, jeez. All right.
Kenzie, question number 1. What is inflammation of the gums called? Inflammation of your gums.
Like the disease, like gingivitis?
Not just like it. It is gingivitis.
Okay.
There you go. Kenzie's on the board.
Sound like you have gingivitis, sir.
John, let's stay with teeth questions. The protective outer covering of your tooth or teeth is known as what?
Enamel.
Enamel is right. Boy, you guys know your teeth. Holy crap. Back to Kenzie.
Dennis up in here.
Yes, back to Kenzie.
Kenzie, what European country was nearly bankrupt following a financial crisis in 2009? I'll just tell you, it's not America. We had a financial crisis then, too.
It's a different thing.
It's a different country, so it's a European country.
A European country that went bankrupt in 2009.
Yeah. The whole world was going down then.
It wasn't great.
We survived
I do vaguely remember, I was in school during this time, I feeling like Greece had financial issues.
Greece did. I mean, they were really as bad as we are, hey.
I remember having to talk about that. Ooh, they're not good with the money.
Good food, though.
Oh, yeah.
Great food. Back to
the togas,
John.
they're cheap.
2-1 back to John.
John, what country do we get Fiat automobiles from? What country?
Germany?
Oh, no, it's not Germany.
Oh.
Kenzie, Fiats.
Fiat is Italian, I think.
They are Italian. That's right. Kenzie's got 3.
They kind of drove one like that in European vacation in Italy, I think.
Yeah, I think
the little zippy thing, right?
Very small car.
That was my poll. That's all I had when I was looking for that. I'm like, think it was in European vacation.
So now it's to Kenzie?
It's 3-1. It's back to Kenzie.
Oh, boy. Here we go. Kenzie, what was the name of the German airship that exploded and crashed in New Jersey in 1937? Guess the name of an airship.
It was German?
Yes.
Oh, God.
3, 2, 1.
Something Berlini?
Was not something Berlini. John, do you know?
Would it be the Zeppelin?
Oh, no. It was a Zeppelin, but it was called the Hindenburg.
Oh, is that where that term comes from?
Well,
when they're like kind of talking about stuff being messed up, but like, isn't there like you're pulling a Hindenburg, or isn't that like a saying?
You're not wrong, and it's just
Right?
amazing that's how you know the Hindenburg through
I
people
see.
using it as an adjective of like.
I didn't know. I just thought it was like a bad place. Nobody wants things to be like the Hindenburg.
Like the.
There's a gray area. You should have given it to me.
No, we need a specific name.
The Kansas City Chiefs Hindenburg to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Right.
was saying
Yes,
that.
I've heard of this. I see. It was a crash.
It was horrific.
Wow.
not
Full
good.
circle moment here.
Watch
huh?
the black and white footage on YouTube later. It's pretty horrific.
It's not good.
That's
All right.
horrible.
Well-
Didn't know.
3-1 back to John.
John, what was the name of the pilot who landed a plane in the Hudson River in 2009? Made a movie about it.
I just watched this movie.
There was a name of the movie.
Good thing I was sick because I can't remember.
Oh. Kenzie, do you remember the guy's name?
Chelsea Sullenberger.
Wow, the full birth name or biblical name.
Captain Sully. Well, I watched the movie.
I would have
He
accepted.
is too smart.
Well, you watched the movie, John. You could have had it.
Yeah, I mean, I also watched the movie.
I mean,
Sullenberger.
the movie's called Sully.
There it is.
Sorry, I couldn't help but be. The reason is I remember his name is because I couldn't believe that I just never met a guy named Chelsea before, so I just remembered it.
Yeah, good guy. Saved lives.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
It's like, wow.
Let's see. So it's back to
Kenzie.
Oh, she can win.
It's 4-1. She can win with the correct answer.
Kenzie, Neo is played by who in the Matrix franchise? Neo.
Oh, I hate the Matrix.
Oh, it's so.
John might know.
Well, what's his name? I'm just gonna go with the most popular one because I don't know if that's the lead. The one who reminds me of Adam Driver. Keanu Reeves.
Oh, got it. Oh, the buzzer.
I get him and Adam Driver mixed up all. Does anyone else have that?
They do look
They
somewhat
drive
alike.
me nuts. I'm like, it's that Adam Driver.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I know, John. I'm so sorry. On your 20th wedding anniversary, you kept your kid out of school, so he missed all his tests. He's going to flunk out. And, boy, really sorry about that.
Oh, I tried.
You did try. It's good. But here's what you do. Hang on. Actually, don't hang on. Hang up. Let's do that. And when we come back here after the Chili Peppers, we'll hit God Bless the Baby. So 5 minutes away, we hit God Bless the Baby, and everybody listening has a chance at those Dave Matthews Band tickets for Northerly Island, Saturday, June 28th, from our great partners and friends, Live Nation and Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning, and Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.